Here to Sylvia Fowles and Latoya Sanders. The 2019 Lynx season is presented by Mayo Clinic Sports Medicine. A little bit of an anticlimactic tip. It goes out of bounds and will be Washington basketball. Atkins into Cloud. To the high post, Atkins, Sims playing her chest to chest at the elbow. Here's Elena Deladon, a good look at a three. She doesn't knock it down. She's shooting a career high 52% from the field, 42% from three. Sims almost loses her dribble. High screen from Fowles. Reverse back to Dantis for three. And Damiris Dantis starts things out for Minnesota with a three-pointer. 3-0 Lynx about 34 seconds into the first quarter. Powers with Collier on her, moves both directions around to Sanders' screen. Sanders swings to Atkins for three, and they respond right back. And that's the other thing about the Mystics. Obviously, when they score as much as they do, they hit a lot of threes. They're number one in the league in three-pointers made. Sylvia Fowles trying to work her magic underneath the baseline and can't get that one to go from far underneath the rim. Now Powers is stopped by Collier in transition. Powers driving, leaving it for Sanders. Short corner, good recovery by Collier to meet her right along the baseline. Looking into the post to Deladon, and there's that post defense from Dantis stepping in to knock away that pass. It's a turnover. Sims lobs inside to Fowles through two defenders, works hard and gets rewarded with a layup. It's 6-3 Minnesota, 8:29 on the clock in the first quarter. Cloud to Deladon. She's got a pass, and she's going to hit that layup. She was just able to sneak along baseline. The Lynx not quick enough on that particular possession for her to get that step along the baseline. Here is Augustus driving into the paint. Floater too strong. Rebound goes out of bounds and will stay here with the Lynx. Take Metro Transit to the Lynx games and ride with us. Go to lynxbasketball.com/Metro Transit. 13 on the shot clock here for Minnesota. Sims taking it out. 8:07 left in the first quarter. Sims drops it right underneath to Dantis, and Cloud is going to snatch that away from behind, and it will be a jump ball between Dantis and Natasha Cloud. Cloud had just 4 points the last time these two teams met, normally averaging around 9. But I'm interested to see how she responds after being forced into 8 turnovers the last time. Dantis wins the tip, and it's Minnesota basketball. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Sims long skip past the Dantis in the corner, trying to post up against Cloud. A deep fadeaway doesn't go. Rebound to the Mystics. Here's Powers to Cloud, who thought about a three. Powers goes the opposite way of a screen, attacks, and just gets that one to drop in right in front of the rim. She is incredibly explosive and physical. The Mystics lead 7-5. 7:30 left in the first quarter. Augustus to Dantis. Near the three-point line. She'll hand off to Collier. Dantis, a good look at, Augustus, a good look at a three. Dantis fighting for the rebound. Powers able to box her out. And the Lynx one and done on that possession. Here's Deladon, her second touch today, and she is fouled by Dantis as she put it on the floor. Damiris, that is her first for the team. And a sideline inbound coming up here for Washington, leading 7-5. Powers gonna lob it, but stolen by Simone Augustus. She goes right at Cloud, but cannot complete the layup. She claps her frustration in missing that, but that is something this Lynx defense does so well, is just denying passes, making it exhausting, making it frustrating for opposing offenses to even move the ball. So that was a great effort there by Augustus. She just couldn't finish it off. Still 7-5, the Mystics in the lead. 7 minutes on the clock. Here's a big lob into Deladon, blocked by Fowles and picked up by Dantis. Deladon could not get through that wall of the Lynx interior, and Sims responds with a layup of her own on the left side. Game tied at 7, 6:45 on the clock in the first quarter. Atkins trying to cross over Augustus, and she will be called for a foul. 6:39 left in the first quarter. Another inbound coming up, and that is the third on the Lynx. Here's Cloud near the logo. Augustus on her. Cutting through is Powers. Cloud, they get the switch off the screen, and they're looking to post up Deladon against Augustus before they switch back. Here's Powers, no good with a long-range 2 rebound to Dantis. Sims pushing, her pass tapped away, stolen, and it is a 3-on-1. Powers is blocked by Dantis. A 3-on-1, and Dantis stops it, but she will foul Deladon, who was putting up a shot from the block extended. That was quite emphatic display. I think Powers, as her name suggests, really plays that way with power and explosiveness, and just thought, I'm going to take this right at you. And Dantis with the rejection. Here is Deladon at the free throw line. Over the last 10 games, the Mystics, now after that, have made 101 of their last 110 free throw attempts. Last year, this franchise set the record for the highest free throw percentage as a team in league history at 86. They're even higher this year at 87. It's remarkable, and that's a huge part of their offense as Deladon goes 2 for 2. She's a 95+% shooter. It is 9-7 Mystics. Stephanie Talbot, Danielle Robinson new into the game for Augustus, and also, who am I missing? It's not Sims and Dantis. But a foul is called against LaToya Sanders on fouls. And it's Lynx basketball, 15 on the shot clock. Robinson from the wing looking into the post. She has Atkins on her, crossing over. Atkins leaving it for Talbot. Talbot spinning, almost losing it, but it goes right in the hands of Robinson, and she can't knock that down. Robinson, since coming off the bench, a 69% shooter, 20 of 29, so rare to see her miss the last couple of games. Lob inside to Atkins, and that foul's going to go against the Lynx and Danielle Robinson. You see the Mystics trying to lob up these passes inside, and that's something that the Lynx have dealt with this season, with Robinson, Sims, and Lexi Brown being guards on the smaller side, trying to use any advantage they can in the post. Now Atkins, who misses the first, it's 9-7 Washington. She's not particularly big, still in the 5'8", 5'9" range. Atkins good on the second. It is 10-7 Washington, approaching the midway point of the first quarter. Talbot looking inside to fouls, double team, tried to hit the cutting Robinson, almost a turnover, but picked up by Collier. Pump fake and drive for Sims, and that goes in at the third hash mark. Sims had 2 defenders around her, still got off a high-quality shot. Deladon puts it on the floor, leaves it for Powers. Deladon looking for it over the top. Cloud is going to get it to her right there, and Deladon will finish. That is, and she's 6'5" plus that wingspan. She knows how to score at every part of the floor, including deep at the rim. Sims will miss from the free throw line. It goes out of bounds. And back to Washington. There will be a break on the floor. 4:54 left in the first quarter. The Mystics leading 12-9 here at Target Center. This is Minnesota Lynx basketball. New WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert being introduced here on the big screen at Target Center. And, of course, we'll be hearing from her in the second quarter of tonight's broadcast. The Lynx trailing the Washington Mystics 12-9. The last meeting of 3 between these two teams. The Lynx trying to avoid going 0-3 against them this season. And the Mystics right now, 6 of their 12 points come from Elena Deladon, and they are keeping their starters in the game. Washington has not made a substitution yet, despite having one of the best benches in the WNBA. Here's Deladon at the logo. Extended pressure from Minnesota. Brings the shot clock down to 12. Deladon finally gets it away to Cloud with Robinson on her. Cloud will swing it to Deladon, driving into fouls. She misses. Great defense, but it's saved from going out of bounds. And then a shot clock violation That is a great thing to see from the Lynx, where they have a timeout on the floor, some extra time to regroup, make sure that there is as little separation as possible between these two teams in the score, and then to get a turnover, force one against the team that does it the fewest times. Here's Talbot underneath the basket. She will swing it to Collier, to Talbot again, deep in the corner for three. Yes! Stephanie Talbot had 4 3-pointers, 16 points, the second leading scorer against New York in their most recent game. Here's Powers trying to answer back. No, great box out by Sims. She will push right at Deladon, and she'll swing it back toward center court. Robinson tiptoed in that dangerous corner. Here is Talbot for three. That is left short. And a rebound to Deladon. Game tied at 12. A huge three from Stephanie Talbot. They get a stop and then a three. Here is Powers for three. No again. Sanders flying in for the rebound. And it will go back to Minnesota. Powers this season from three, a respectable 38%. But she is 1 for 5 from the floor. Here comes Shatori Walker-Kimbrough and Emma Miesemann, who had a season high and also a game high 25 points. Here's Robinson, the floater over Miesemann. No, but a whistle. So free throws coming up here for Danielle Robinson. It has been really fun to see her in this reserve role. This is her 5th game coming off the bench, the 5th game since Simone Augustus has come back and been in the starting lineup. As a reserve, 11.5 points, as Robinson is good on the first, 3.5 rebounds, 4 assists, and 69% shooting. That's her first points at the free throw line. And her second also good, and the Lynx have the lead, 14-12, 3:24 left in the first quarter. Cloud met by Robinson, moving her feet quickly. Here's Powers driving, stopped by fouls as she dribbles back out and then picks up her dribble. She's trying to get it to Miesemann. Forced out of bounds, but will stay with the Mystics. The Lynx played with this same kind of effort and energy and intensity the game at DC, but they were still separated by double-digit margins for a lot of the game, between 9 and 12 points. But this time, they're leading with that same kind of intensity. Brought into Cloud off the sideline inbound, and they're going to whistle Sims for the foul. And that is her first. Damaris Dantas has 2 and 3 minutes on the floor, but no one else with more than 1. And because of that foul, Washington is in the bonus. So here's Natasha Cloud shooting 2 with 3:07 to go in the first quarter. Rep the Lynx and show your fandom when you shop inside the Minnesota Lynx team store, located on the Skyway level and on the 100 level concourse. The team store is loaded with the newest apparel, jerseys, on-court gear, hats, and more. Head to this team store to get your hands on some swag now. 14-13 after one made free throw. Minnesota in the lead. And we're joined now. We'll just take you early, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. Thanks so much for joining us. It's going to be Washington basketball. The Lynx leading 14-13. What are your impressions so far of Minnesota?
Yeah, I've had a great couple of days here, meeting, players, coaches, the ownership. And it's really been great. And the environment here at the Target Center seems, really, really a great fan experience.
Mystics with the basketball. Aerial Power swinging it around the perimeter. I think that's something we are really proud of here in Minnesota, is the atmosphere that we get here at Target Center. And just a point of pride, especially as I travel around the league, too. I mean, there's so many great environments, I think, but it's a special thing here, I think.
Yeah, and that's part of why I'm on this tour of all the markets for the WNBA, is to, take in the kind of best of the best and bring back what's working, what's not working. I met with, the best part of my trip have been meeting with fans and seeing the passion they have for the city, for the sport, for women's basketball, and for the Lynx.
Minnesota on defense right now. 2:15 on the clock in the first quarter. They are leading 14-13. When I watch this game, too, we have the number 2 team in defensive rating in Minnesota, number 1 in offensive rating, which puts at a record in Washington. What's been your impression so far of just seeing the league in person, up close, and the talent that's here?
Yeah, I think the level of play and the depth of the talent. I mean, this is one of the toughest leagues with only 12 teams and 144 players to make these teams. We even have first-round draft picks that don't necessarily make the teams, and you don't see that in other professional sports. So I think the talent, the depth of the talent is so incredible. All of these, even the bench players, could be starting on any other team, and so it's great to see the quality of the product on the floor and these elite athletes that are so socially minded and community, involved. It's such a great league, and we've got to obviously elevate our brand so everybody knows that we can get more fans in our seats in our arenas and drive a great, fabulous fan experience.
We're joined by WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, former point guard under Muffet McGraw. I want to ask you about that later, but I'm wondering, too, as Danielle Robinson is at the line, 2 minutes left in the first quarter. She nets the first to put the game tied at 15. About your priorities here so far. You obviously come from a corporate background, and I think a lot of the focus with your hiring was on making financial strides. How has that been going so far? Are you still learning that process?
Yeah, so certainly coming in and diving right in for one of the reasons I was hired, to look at revenue, look at expanding our revenue base, expanding the fan base, driving economics to the point where everything that we're negotiating as part of the collective bargaining agreement will, fall in place once we, get the economics for our 12 franchises in a place and at the league level. And so we need to carry this conversation around the W year-round, elevate the brand of these players in the league, work on player experience, and obviously, economics are number 1 on my list, which, I think is why I was hired.
1:41 on the clock in the first quarter. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, you did mention those negotiations, and I just want to ask where that stands right now and how much is that a priority, with things being in season at this point?
Yeah, so obviously our collective bargaining agreement ends in October at the end of the season, and we're looking forward to working with the players. We have already had some very, good conversations, and I think the Players Association has commented as well. What the good thing that I see in this negotiation is we all have the same goals. We're all trying to drive the brand of these players and get these players the recognition they deserve for the elite athletes they are. And, so I think, that's a nice thing about a negotiation that you usually don't have, because each side usually doesn't have the same goal. In this case, we have the same goal, and I'm very optimistic that we'll get something done.
Ariel Powers at the line. The Mystics in the bonus. They are tied with the Lynx at 16, 1:41 on the clock. Lexi Brown coming in for the Minnesota Lynx. We have a potential Rookie of the Year nominee here in Nafisa Collier. And we talked about the talent in this league, but then there's also players like her that are able to come in. I mean, from your perspective, seeing someone come in and just have such an impact.
I think it's great. We have a variety of rookies this year, including Nafisa, who are making an impact immediately and starting on their teams, which is amazing. What I love about the league right now, we have a nice balance of, experienced players who have been around a long time, and then we have a great crop coming out of an exciting draft this year of players, who are rookies and are in their second or third year as well. So it's, I think, a really good balance. You're seeing a lot more parity in the league this year around teams that have a chance for the playoffs. So, coming off of a successful All-Star weekend, we're in this last quarter of the season already, and, I couldn't be more pleased with the play and the players, and Nafisa certainly has made an impact.
The Lynx trailing the Mystics by 17-16, 1:14 to go. I'm joined by WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. I'm sure you read Liz Cambazia's really heartfelt article in the Players Tribune, and really detailing her own experiences with mental health. And I was wondering your thoughts about just so many players bringing that to the forefront and just looking to make it more normal to talk about these things.
Yeah, I think, in my prior life, this is something I was very focused on with 100,000 employees, knowing that we were a microcosm of society in the broader world. And I think the WNBA is the same thing. We're a microcosm of the broader world. Mental health, mental illness is a real big issue, societal issue in our country. And I think, at the W, we're thinking of some things where we could be leaders and conveners on talking about this issue. And, I give Liz a lot of credit for coming out and telling her story. And it helps so many other people to drive the awareness that this is okay to talk about. And, we look forward to continuing to work with the players around resources, training, and certainly I'd like to use the WNBA's platform as a convener for this issue, but more broadly in society.
Danielle Robinson with a layup. The Mystics miss. They lead the Mystics 18-17, 40 seconds left in the first quarter. Sylvia fouls with a three-point play coming up, running down in transition. She gets the layup and the foul. You really feel it light up in here. But I wanted to ask, too, since you do have a basketball background, I'm talking to WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, was there a player from the inception of the league that you really loved to watch? And I don't want you to play favorites, but I do
of course,
wonder.
I remember the iconic players from, the first generation of players. I'd say today we're in our second generation, the Lisa Leslies, the Cheryl Swoops, I even remember pre-WNBA Cheryl Miller and that whole crop of amazing athletes that, we all looked up to when we were playing. And so, there's so many. I can't name them all. There's so many of them. And I got a chance to meet. We had an alumni function of WNBA players out in Las Vegas, so that was fun.
That's got to be a starstruck experience.
Really fun. And what I like to hear, and one of the other reasons I took this job is to, help these women think about what they're going to do post-basketball life. And that's something I, was very involved with in my prior life with developing future women leaders. And that is a platform I want to use to help these women think. Today they're totally focused on basketball, obviously, but, they'll retire in their 30s into their, young 40s, and they'll have a next career in helping them. And, whether they want to stay in basketball and coach or announce, or whether they end up in the business world or they end up in government, whatever they want to do. And, I think they're all so smart and such strong voices that, helping them do what's next for them is on my list as well.
That was something you mentioned earlier about having players that are so vocal, whether it's about equity in all aspects of our society. But what has that experience been like for you as Ariel Atkins knocks down a three? It's 21-20, Mystics trailing. About just the kind of characteristics of this league and how vocal so many players are.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I love about these players that you may not find on the men's side, how, again, socially conscious and community-minded they are, and they really, you see so many heartfelt stories about them, working with underprivileged kids or, whatever the cohort group is, and they really could have a strong voice in society on these issues, and we welcome that, and I think both the NBA and the WNBA have been quite progressive on that topic, and we welcome that voice and that strong voice because I think these women are, known as role models and elite athletes. And, I think as I grew up in sports, and I think, for girls and women, sports builds confidence like nothing else, and they can have those strong voices and have confidence that they can lead.
WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. End of the first quarter. We're going to take a break. 21-20 is the Minnesota Lynx lead.
This game is our everything. This game is where we hold court, where we hold high our crossover queens. This game is for the future, for the culture, for the change makers. We don't just play this game. We celebrate it. Unapologetically, undeniably. Us.
Of the second quarter here at Target Center. Sloan Martin along with you. The Lynx leading the Mystics 21-20. Stephanie Talbot just misses a three. She has one already in this game. A really competitive first quarter. Elena Deladon misses on the other side. I am still joined for the first part here of the second quarter with WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. And I didn't ask her in the beginning, too, as Tammy Fack Benlay scores inside. You're about a month on the job right now. how has it been settling into things a little bit?
Yeah, I think, I first started, we had All-Star Game, All-Star Weekend in Las Vegas. That was great to meet, a lot of the players in the ecosystem of women's basketball. We announced out there our collaboration with the WNBA's collaboration with USA Basketball around keeping 8 players in market, paying them to play exhibitions and train, for hopefully our 7th consecutive gold medal for our USA national women's basketball team. So, that's a great thing to look forward to. And again, there's so much momentum for the WNBA. We just got added WNBA players into the, video game, the NBA 2K.
Yes.
I think that'll hopefully broaden our exposure to maybe bring some new younger fans in. I know my 18-year-old son plays that 2K game, so lots of signs pointing up, for the league, and so I couldn't be more proud to be joining at a time when I think we have a lot of potential and momentum.
Minnesota Lynx with the basketball. Lexi Brown hits a prayer 3. That possession was kind of breaking down, and Lexi Brown, who is one of the best three-point shooters in the league. She is around 41%. That makes it 28-22 Minnesota. Elena Deladon with the basketball now. She'll pull up over Damiris Dantas, and she misses. Rebound to Danielle Robinson. The most recent matchup between these two teams, I'm talking with WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, as Robinson is fouled, was 101-78, so a lot at stake on the floor. The Lynx trying to avoid being swept by the Mystics this season. I wanted to ask you, too, about the importance of the title of commissioner. And, of course, it's early on here for you, but it is significant that you are the first. And I'm wondering in what ways you've noticed the significance of that.
Yeah, so first I think what Adam Silver and the NBA were trying to signal that this is a major professional sports league, and major professional sports leagues have commissioners. So I think it's quite progressive, especially given the social conversation around, gender and women's leadership and women's empowerment. And it does come with big responsibility. It's a seat at the table that otherwise I wouldn't have without the title. And, quite frankly, I'm never into titles as much as I am leadership. So this does give me, though, a strong platform to lead the league and lead these elite players. So I'm very excited about that.
The Lynx leading the Mystics 30-22 with 7:12 to go in the second quarter. Emma Miesemann drives, and that's an offensive foul drawn by Danielle Robinson, who continues to be spectacular in her role as a reserve, but sharing the floor here with Simone Augustus. The Lynx again leading 30-22. Talking with WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert as Robinson goes to the bench. What has that been like for you? You talked about the dynamics of being a commissioner, but as someone yourself who has risen up the corporate ladder when that's not an easy thing to do, I mean, what was that career and life experience like?
Yeah, so obviously, I come from a family of 5 brothers. I went to a college at the time was 4 male to 1 female. I joined a profession that had less than 10% women leaders. We've made a lot of progress over those 33 years I was with my prior firm. And, so obviously I'm very used to being in this male-dominated world and working in it and making sure that I could be a role model for both women and men. And a lot of the policies I put in with a people-first agenda at Deloitte are hopefully things I can bring to, because sports is business too, and hopefully make a very player-first agenda and drive that agenda. But, it wasn't always easy, but, certainly proud of, being a role model, hope for the next generation of women leaders.
Temi Fagbenle at the line goes 2 for 2. The Lynx are up by 10, 32-22. Kind of a reversal of what we saw in the most recent game, with the Mystics holding a double-digit lead for much of that game as Natasha Cloud goes to work. She will finish to get that deficit down to 8. I'm talking with WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. With your experience, what was the most challenging thing about really going and rising up that? Because I think, we think about the fans of the WNBA maybe in a similar situation, or people who are my age, who are millennials, who maybe are following kind of in your footsteps too.
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing is, and I think this is something sports breeds in girls and women, is to have confidence that you can rise, confidence you can do things that otherwise you might not think you have the capability for. And, I really think, having played basketball, and I also played lacrosse in college, help actually pave a path for me to have that confidence no matter what audience I was in when I was the only woman in the room, to have a confidence to speak up and express my voice, and that it would count and that it would be meaningful and that I was qualified. And so that's the great thing about sports and certainly basketball for me, that, those formative years where I was playing competitively, played under Muffet McGraw, as you mentioned, really helped me. And Muffet used to have something where she talked about, practice, and that you have to be your best in your ordinary moments, not just for the championships, but, and kind of that practice makes perfect type of ideal. So, and this was back in the 1980s, so it was a long time ago.
Well, it served her well, I think.
Oh, yeah, she went on to great. I played for her at Lehigh University, but she went on to great success at Notre Dame, turned that program around, 2 national championships, and she's a Naismith Hall of Fame coach, so that's pretty amazing.
6 minutes left in the second quarter. I'm Sloan Martin alongside WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert. The Lynx with the basketball up 32-24. Is there a moment another one that stands out to you with Muffet McGraw? Because, you were part of this Hall of Fame career.
Yeah, so absolutely. So, she did send me a note and said, thank you for giving me my start. Now, I'm not sure I gave her start, but it was her first head coaching job. But so proud of her, what she's accomplished, and the strong voice she's had on women's issues. And, we need that conversation. We need it year round. We need it, to convince that these women, whenever I talk to players and women, and they may not see it today because they're still in their career, but I talk to them about how important they are as role models and how important it is that they hone their leadership skills for, the future, because we need them to be the next generation of leaders.
Ariel Atkins with 5 straight points for the Washington Mystics. That will be a timeout for the Minnesota Lynx. They lead 32-29. WNBA Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Sloan. This was great. Thank you, and thank you for all you're doing to promote our league. It's great.
Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your trip to Minnesota. We appreciate having you on the broadcast.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be right back. This is Minnesota Lynx basketball. Thanks, Cal. Yeah, that's pretty rough there for the Dream especially. Back here, midway through the second quarter, the Lynx still holding on to a lead, 32-29, down low into fouls, and the Lynx score immediately out of that timeout to continue to hold on to this cushion. The Lynx are shooting 50% compared to 41% for the Mystics. The Lynx have also led by as many as 10 in this game, and Sylvia Fowles will force a jump ball along the perimeter against LaToya Sanders. It is definitely interesting to see the Mystics turn it over 7 times. They normally only turn it over, fewer than 12 times per game. That's best in the league. They allow the fewest points off turnovers because of that. And off the jump ball, it is won by the Lynx. On the floor for Minnesota is Robinson, Dantis, Collier, Fowles, and Sims. Sims has it on the wing. Cloud on her. Here's Robinson driving baseline reversal. No good, but still a great take by Robinson. She has got 8 points, the team high for Minnesota. She really keyed that run to get them up by 10. Cloud looking into the paint, instead swings it to Powers. Crossover, and she goes all the way to the rim, and it's no good. Off the back iron. Minnesota up by 5, 34-29. And Robinson's going to slow things down here. She's got it with her heels on the logo. Cloud looking out for screens coming her way. She'll take a step forward. Here's Sims from the corner for 3. That bounces out. Long rebound to Nafisa Collier. Sims has it again. Screen from Dantis. She drops it right in. Pick and roll perfection for the Lynx. They're up by 7, 36-29. 3:45 left in the second quarter. Cloud has Robinson on her. Great on-ball defense today by Robinson. Screen comes from Sanders for Atkins. Atkins pulls up the free throw line. That's left short. And Washington is at 37% shooting this season. They're one of the best shooting teams in the league. Is a jump ball on the other side between Sims and Atkins. But the last 10 games for the Mystics, they as a team, and I had to check this multiple times because I still can't believe it. As a team, they're 50-40-90 over the last 10 games and scoring 93 points. in those games. They've won 9 of their last 10. But they're down here to the Lynx by 7, 3:21 left. Before halftime, the tip is won by the Mystics. Here is Cloud, and she will turn it over. Cloud is number 2 in assist-to-turnover ratio in the WNBA. And she today has 3 turnovers so far, had 8 in their last meeting. Robinson picks up her dribble. Cloud will swarm her. Here's Dontis with Deladon on her. Lob inside to Fowles. Takes her time. She gets the bucket and the foul. Sylvia Fowles with 9 points, a perfect 4 for 4 from the floor. A timeout is called. 2:58 left before the half. The Lynx leading 38-29, a more than solid first half. This is Minnesota Lynx basketball. It was just a 1-point game after the first quarter, but the Lynx outscoring the Washington Mystics 17-9 in the second. Welcome back to Target Center. Sloan Martin bringing you Minnesota Lynx basketball. 2:58 left in the first half. And Sylvia Fowles is at the line for another 3-point play. LaToya Sanders has not been successful in trying to slow down Fowles, and the Lynx have been successful themselves in getting her the ball deep. And that's when you just let Sylvia Fowles, potential future Hall of Famer, go to work. And that's what she's done today. She's got 10 points, the first in double figures for Minnesota. 39-29, back up to 10, equals a game-high lead, but Aerial Powers will eat right into that with a 3 in the corner. It's 39-32, the Lynx in the lead. Robinson gets over half court. Atkins on her. She was second team all defense last year as a rookie. Dontis from the high post has Deladon on her. Lots of hand movement. Sims trying to go against Cloud into the post for Fowles. She will turn it over, looking for that cross key pass. Powers is going to slow things down, but Miesemann, she will put up a 3, and that is back-to-back for the Washington Mystics, and that is when they're dangerous because of the points, the threes, they can reel off in quick succession. And Minnesota is going to call a timeout. 2:01 left in the first half. The Lynx leading 39-35. And head coach Cheryl Reeve just has to know how precious these leads are and how important it is to thwart any runs by a team like the Mystics. We are looking at what could be an all-time great offense in this team. No team has had an offensive rating as high as theirs is right now. Rep the Lynx and show your fandom when you shop inside the Minnesota Lynx team store, located on the Skyway level and the 100 level concourse. The team store is loaded with the newest apparel, jerseys, on-court gear, hats, and more. Head to the team store to get your hands on some swag now. 2:01 on the clock as the Lynx call a timeout. The leading scorer is Sylvia Fowles with 10 points on 4 for 4 shooting, 2 blocks as well, and 2 rebounds. The leader for the Mystics is Ariel Atkins with 12 on 4 for 5 shooting, a perfect 3 for 3 from long range. But Elena Deladon has just 6 points on 2 for 7 shooting. She had 23 points the last time these two teams met. And she is someone who in the last 8 games has had at least 20 points and 5 rebounds 6 times. So she is on a roll in what could be an MVP season, but just 6 points right now. The Lynx have it after that timeout. Sims outside the 3-point line into Fowles, finds Robinson cutting, gets Deladon up in the air, but can't finish the layup. A great take, a great play call by the Lynx, but that doesn't turn into 2. 39-35 the lead as Sims takes that away from Atkins. She can't finish the layup. Fowles chases it down, and it is Minnesota basketball. Robinson at the Mayo Clinic logo. 1:27 to go in the first half. Dontis outside the 3-point line, and she will be whistled for a traveling violation. And that's the Lynx' 10th turnover today. They actually have fewer than the Mystics, who have 11 right now. The Lynx, you don't want to say it cancels out the turnovers, but they do force the same amount of turnovers they commit. So it's kind of canceling out, I think. 1:23 on the clock, a 4-point lead for the Lynx, and they have trouble even getting it over half court. Miesemann has to go chase it down. She drives against fouls, gives it up to Cloud. Miesemann has Robinson on her right now. Atkins trying to get it to her. Here's Miesemann a couple feet inside three-point range, and she will knock down the shot. Miesemann 7 points, 2 for 3 shooting, had 25 in the most recent meeting. Here is Sims from the top of the paint. She also drains the long range, too. It is 41-37, 50 seconds left in the second quarter. Cloud gets that tap back to her by Collier. Cloud gets it again, now deep in the corner to Miesemann. Here is Deladon by herself. Somehow Robinson ended up on her, so Deladon gonna win that matchup right in the paint. It is 41-39, the Lynx in the lead. Here is Collier driving, pulling up over Deladon, can't get it to drop. Deladon the rebound. That was Collier's first shot attempt, actually. She hasn't scored. 2 rebounds, 2 assists for the rookie. Cloud near half court. Less than a second difference between the shot and game clock. It's at 10. Cloud to Deladon. Will pull up off 1 foot, can't knock it down. Rebound to foul. She'll poke that up ahead to Talbot, who heaves it up. That is no good. And at the half, the Lynx with the lead against the Mystics, 41-39. Now listen to this stat. At the end of the second quarter, when the Mystics are trailing, they're 17-2, and they're trailing at half. They're just 1-5 this season. They're 18-7 overall. So we head into halftime with the Lynx leading 41-39. Cal Soderquist will have more coming up from the WNBA Tonight studios here at Target Center. The Lynx trying to go 1-2 against the Mystics this season as they set their eyes on a higher playoff seed. More coming up. This is Minnesota Lynx basketball. Almost time for the second half here at Target Center. Sloan Martin along with you. Out of the first 20 minutes, the Lynx in the lead, 41-39 against the Washington Mystics. And it was a really solid first half for the Lynx because they were able to lead by as many as 10 points in this one, and they held the Mystics below their season average. They're normally shooting as a team over 46%, and they are right around 44% right now. But this is a team, too, that over the last 10 games is averaging 93 points per game. So clearly at 39, they are below that pace. But what stood out to me in the first half was really the defense of the Lynx. They are second in the league in defensive rating right now, and they looked like they had the upper hand against this top offense in the WNBA. Could be a historically best offense, in fact, holding them to 39 points, forcing 11 turnovers. That's normally what they're averaging per game. Just a quick look at the stats here. Sylvia Fowles leading the Lynx with 10 points. Danielle Robinson has 6 of her 8 points from the free throw line. And the leader for the Mystics is Ariel Atkins with 12. Elena Deladon just 8 first half points on 3 for 9 shooting. So it's almost time for the second half. Starters on the floor for Minnesota, except Stephanie Talbot is in over Simone Augustus. Augustus in the first half played just 6 minutes and 3 seconds. So that's going to mean Lisa Collier at the 3 and Talbot at the 2, Sims at the 1 here, along with Dantis and Fowles. Dantis has it outside the three-point line, reverses to Talbot, looking into the post for Fowles. Here is Talbot, who picks up her dribble against Deladon. That was poked away by Cloud. Sims has the rush to get back. 2 seconds left. She tosses it to Fowles, and the Lynx will start out. Oh, that's not a 24-second violation. I didn't hear the whistle over the buzzer, but it looks like Fowles was fouled right at the buzzer for the 24-second violation. Or maybe this will be under review. Looks like this is going to be under review indeed to see when that foul occurred. So Odyssey Sims had to go back over half court after it was tapped away by Natasha Cloud. She dribbled it back in with about 2 seconds left, dumped it into Fowles right in the middle of the paint outside the restricted area, and then Fowles put it up. It was an awkward shot. She didn't have her shoulders squared to the basket, but the referees whistled a foul on Ariel Atkins, and now the referees are looking over the timing of that foul versus the shot clock violation. And that's an important spot here because this could be 2 points with the free throws for Sylvia Fowles, or it could be a turnover. So Sylvia Fowles has that partially knocked away by Atkins. Atkins last year's second team all defense, and it is going to be 2 free throws here for Sylvia Fowles. 9:35 left in the third quarter, and Sylvia Fowles with a team-leading 10 points at the line, shooting 2. She's 4 for 4 from the field, 2 for 2 from the line. And it's nice to see this bounce back. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything different, but she is coming off 2 games in which she was held to under 10 points and 10 rebounds. That's only happened one other time this season. In fact, against Washington, she had 5 points and 3 rebounds as she makes the first, and her second is good, so she is 4 for 4 from the line, and that is 12 points from Sylvia Fowles. She's also got 4 rebounds and 2 blocks. Washington with it down by 4, 43-39. Cloud to Deladon deep in the corner to Powers. Powers goes baseline, tries to float it over Fowles. She misses, and a rebound for Minnesota. Here is Talbot from the wing. Screen comes from Fowles. Sims now. And then to Dantis from the corner. She'll hand off to Sims. Set a screen. They switch. Dantis trying to post up against Cloud. It lands in her hands. And she gets the layup. Perfectly timed and created by Odyssey Sims. And when she shows that patience, you see why she is 4th in the league in assists per game at 5.5 per contest. 8:45 on the clock. Cloud to Atkins near the Target Center logo, and it's picked off by Fowles, but she can't hold on to it. Picked up again by Sanders. Cloud is going to miss that from a long 2-point range. Minnesota on the run. Talbot goes all the way. Either Deladon got a piece of that, or Talbot just missed as she throws her head back, upset she had a clear path to the rim. Probably could have used a pump fake there against Deladon, though. It is Elena Deladon chasing you. The Lynx up 45-39, 8:20 left in the third quarter. Cloud has Talbot on her. Screen comes from Deladon. They switch. Dantis on Cloud. Cloud driving, and Cloud is going to pick up a foul on Dantis, and that will be number 3. Nafisa Collier has 2. She has not scored on 0 for 1 shooting. No one else has more than 1. But that is going to be tough if Dantis finds herself in any more foul trouble, because she's been containing Elena Deladon in this game. She's got 8 points. And here a foul away from the ball, far away from the ball, is going to go against Sylvia Fowles on Latoya Sanders. Sanders was trying to get that inbound pass, and Fowles made contact. So the Lynx lead by 2 possessions, 45-39. Another inbound coming up. Atkins. Sims playing a good distance off. She gets it into Deladon. A handoff back to Atkins. Atkins surveying the floor. 9 seconds on the shot clock. She will drive, kick into the stands. Aerial Powers wasn't really near that pass from Atkins. She was able to get a hand on it before it went out of bounds, but that is turnover number 12, of which the Lynx have scored 14 points. Sims getting through traffic as Deladon in front of her, kicks out to Dantas into the post. It's Fowles one-on-one with Sanders. Jab fake. Here comes a double team from Cloud. Fowles pushing through the double team, and an offensive foul is going to go against Sylvia. Natasha Cloud was very aggressive in bringing that double team. Basically got chest to chest with her, and Fowles tried to power through it, tried to spin and rip that ball through. They say that she pushed over Cloud in the process. Powers, Collier on her. Atkins looking into the post against Deladon. Can't get it in. Will swing to Powers. Jab fake, drive, kick. It is Cloud wide open. No good from three. A long rebound to Stephanie Talbot. Sims has it near the Mayo Clinic logo. Met by Cloud. Screen comes from Fowles. Dantas. That's a good look at three. But that bounces off the back of the iron. And skying for the rebound is Nafisa Collier. She'll hand off to Sylvia Fowles. And now Sims will reset. 7 seconds left. She drives. Hesitation. Then powers in as she screams. And one. That is the power of Odyssey Sims when she is aggressive. It's 47-39 as the Lynx continue to hold on to this cushion against the #1 team in the league. Cloud to Powers. She'll try again for three, and she will knock it down. Powers today with 10 points, 2 for 4 from long range, 3 for 9 overall. She had 20 the first time, one of 3, 20 plus against Minnesota. Talbot is going to lose that one, and picked up by Elena Deladon as she will jog up the floor, met by Damiris Dantas. She will put up a 3 in transition. That bounces off. Atkins can't get the rebound, but Fowles does. Sims gets into the paint again. This time can't finish, but she went underneath someone's arm. Certainly could have been contact there as Atkins will pull up a mid-range 2. That is good. Ariel Atkins has 14 points, a game high. Also 4 steals. Sims goes over half court. Danielle Robinson set the check-in for the Lynx. Collier from the right wing. Here is Fowles. They switch on the screen. Collier is going to pull up over Sanders, and she knocks it down for her first bucket and first points. Collier also with 4 rebounds, 2 assists in this one. Under 5.5 to go in the third quarter. Cloud waits for the high screen from Deladon. Has Talbot on Cloud. Cloud hesitates, then drives against Talbot. Never taking the ball away from her right hand. And it's a 3-point game, 49-46. Sims has that stolen by Powers. She stepped right into that passing lane, spins on the fast break, can't finish, but she will be fouled by Nafisa Collier. And this is a critical time for Minnesota as there is a break on the floor. 4:56 left in the third quarter. Will the Mystics make a run, and can the Lynx withstand it here to get a win on their home floor? This is Minnesota Lynx basketball. Back here at Target Center, Sloan Martin along with you. The Mystics are within 3, 49-46. The Lynx have led by as many as 10 points in this game as they try to hold off the team that is number 1 in the standings, a team that could tonight with a win be the first team to clinch a playoff berth. Lynx fans, the Timberwolves and Lynx Basketball Academy is proud to offer camps and clinics for your youth basketball players this summer now through August 24th. Registration is now open, so be sure to register at TimberwolvesBasketballAcademy.com. Here's Ariel Powers at the line. They're both Ariel, spelled differently. She's Aerial. She hits the first. 4:55 to go in the third quarter. It's a 2-point game, and this could bring the Mystics within 1. Powers cannot knock it down. Rebound to Dantas, who is playing with 3 personal fouls, as is Fowles and Nafisa Collier at this point. Collier, the rookie, has it, uses a screen from Fowles, tries to dump it into Fowles, and there is a whistle on the floor as Sylvia was going to go catch that pass. It's going to go against Natasha Cloud. Fouls the leader for Minnesota, the only one in double figures with 12 points. She's perfect from the floor and the free throw line, both 4 for 4. Here is Robinson, lob inside to Fouls, tips it to herself and finishes on the other side of the rim. Just the mastery that we get to see on a regular basis of the post moves of Sylvia Fouls. That makes it 51-47. The Lynx still in the lead. That was a big bucket. Shatori Walker-Kimbrough for 3. She hits the deck. No whistle and no basket either. Rebound to Fouls. She outlets it out to Sims. Cross-court pass Robinson. Dantis is met by Deladon. She'll hand off to Robinson through the top of the paint, and that's going to go off the foot of Nafisa Collier. And that's a tough turnover for the Lynx to have. It's their 13th of this game. 4:03 on the clock. The Lynx trying to hold off the Mystics, a team with the #1 offense in the WNBA. Miesemann with the high screen for Cloud. Cloud will dribble it away. Here comes the screen from Deladon. Now she'll use it. Has Dantis on her, looking to post up Deladon against Robinson. Instead, Miesemann will knock down a 3. And maybe you've been waiting for Emma Miesemann to provide that spark. She had a team-high, game-high 25 points on Sunday. She's got 10 right now to lead the bench. 3 for 4 shooting, 2 for 2 from 3. Dantis trying to answer right back off the front of the rim. Rebound, Aerial Powers. She dribbles it up the floor, met by Collier. Gets around Collier, leaves it for Walker-Kimbrough, a graduate of Maryland. Emma Miesemann will pump fake, drive. Walker-Kimbrough in rhythm, yes. And Walker-Kimbrough this season, just a 26% shooter from 3. Her junior year of college at Maryland. Led the NCAA at 55%. Sims can't hit a 3, but the rebound into the hands of Collier, and she finishes over Elena Deladon. The patience of the rookie when she has the 6'5" Deladon right next to her to score is really something else. Here's Aerial Powers for 3 from Walker-Kimbrough. That's no good. As a team, the Mystics 8 for 17 as Sims drives, gets fouled, doesn't get the bucket, but still you see that competitive energy from Sims in this game. As she is a little bit slow to get up, she has been attacking very hard throughout this game, that is just her game. It's attacking hard when she is at her best. So she walks to the free throw line. Take your experience to the next level with the official mobile app of the Minnesota Lynx. Use it to manage your tickets and get inside the arena. Use it to check stats and everything Lynx. Even use it to get a discount on Target Center purchases. Head over to the App Store or Google Play to download it now. And Sylvia Fouls is out there helping out, clean up the floor, towel on her feet, making sure everything's safe for everyone. After Sims was down in that spot. And it's actually nice, too, because I think that gives everyone a little extra breather, too. I believe the floor needed to be cleaned up, but I think that's also a good move here late in a very important third quarter. A little extra rest as Sims knocks down the first. 2:31 left. The Lynx holding on to just a 1-point lead now, 54-53. On the floor for Minnesota, Sims, Collier, Fouls, Robinson, and Talbot. And Sims, that one hit the back of the iron, then fell in. And I waited until after the free throw to tell you that the Lynx as a team are 14 for 14. So you're welcome for that. It's a 2-point lead for the Lynx, 55-53. Powers picks up her dribble. Walker-Kimbrough with Sims on her outside the 3-point line. High screen from Miesemann. Walker-Kimbrough for 3. That just rims out. Rebound to Collier, who has 7 tonight. Robinson in the paint. Talbot, one more pass to Collier, who drives, floater. Yes, that's her third basket today. 3 for 4 shooting. She's got 6 points, and it looks like Collier doing another coming alive here in the second half like we've seen in some games this year. That was a miss from Cloud, and the Lynx have it now. Robinson trying to drop that into Collier. She just picks it up, lobs it into foul. She's double teamed. Will kick it out to Robinson. One dribble, pull up, jump shot, the free throw line. That is good for Robinson. She is the third Lynx player in double figures, has 10 points, 2 for 7 shooting. Neeson thought about a three, instead goes to the corner for Powers. Powers for three, yes. Aerial Powers. Starting in lieu of Christy Tolliver, who's missing her third straight game with a knee injury, has 14. 3 for 6 from three. Sims pulls up the free throw line, no. Deladon, who still has 8 points, has not scored in this quarter with under a minute left. Deladon, though, was fouled by Collier. And for Collier, that is number 4. And that's a situation where Collier was trying to slow down Deladon, but she was so far away from the basket. It was along the sideline. So she picks up number 4. And it's Washington basketball. 55 seconds left. Cloud looking into the post. Atkins as well. Tiana Hawkins in for the first time this quarter. Atkins trying to drive, and she'll pull up over Talbot. That's left short. Rebound number 8 for Nafisa. Robinson gets some speed, brings it back out against Atkins, making her work. Collier directing traffic along the perimeter, gets it to Lexi Brown, new into the game. Swinging to Robinson, 7 seconds left, lob inside to Collier. She spins into the paint, and one for Nafisa Collier. When all else fails, when the possession is falling apart, just lob it up to Nafisa Collier. She will go get that ball and do something productive. And that's what it looked like Robinson did there. Find a way to bail us out of this possession, to do something positive. And it is a 3-point play. The free throw is good. And the Lynx are 15 for 15 from the foul line today. They're up 62 to 56. Shot clock is off. Game clock at 14. Atkins, Talbot on her. Coming back, Benley on Atkins now, down into Mieseman, spinning away from Talbot, can't finish, right in front of the rim, and there is either a foul or a clock violation. It says 2 seconds, but as soon as Robinson got that rebound, she started to sprint up the floor, and that's when the referees whistled play dead momentarily. But Mieseman had a very good look inside the restricted area, but couldn't loft it up with that left hand. It doesn't look like anything's under review yet, but the referee's conferring. Want the scores table. The clock reads 2 seconds exactly. Now 1.4. So the Lynx will have a final heave here, I guess. Damiris Dantas comes in for Nafisa Collier. The Lynx up 62 to 56. And we're still not playing basketball yet. Referees still discussing. They're gathered around near the scores table. Natasha Cloud is getting into the discussions, as is Mike Tebow and Cheryl Reeve. Now Collier's back in for Damiris Dantas. 1.4 seconds left. It's at 3/4 court for Minnesota. And Collier, this would be a great time for Jessica Shepard. She's going to turn it over right to Tiana Hawkins. She can't hit it on the run from beyond the arc, but that would have been a huge basket for the Mystics. Instead, they enter the fourth quarter trailing 62 to 56. This is Minnesota Lynx basketball. Back in at Target Center, I'm Sloan Martin. Entering the fourth quarter, the Minnesota Lynx are leading the Washington Mystics 62 to 56. The Mystics this season 18-1 when leading after 3 quarters, 0-5 when they're trailing see if the Lynx can hold on as Ariel Atkins will drive and kick Cloud into the paint. Emma Mieseman for three. That falls off the front of the rim. Rebound to Stephanie Talbot. And by the way, we have not seen Simone Augustus in this second half. She's played just 6 minutes in this game. So Talbot getting some important minutes here. Robinson as well. Both have been fantastic as reserves. Pick and roll Robinson into Fagbenle. She will get it back to Robinson, and Robinson will travel. She did think too far ahead on that when it looked like she was going to step in for that shot, then decided to pass it off and had already moved too much by that point. 62-56. The Lynx ahead. They're shooting 48%. And a three-pointer by Natasha Cloud makes it a one-possession game. Natasha Cloud in this one. 5 points, 2 for 6 shooting. Stephanie Talbot picks up her dribble. Damiris Dantis outside the three-point line. Picks up her dribble as well. Not a lot happening on this possession. Lexi Brown at the free-throw line will put up a shot. That misses everything. And saved from going out of bounds by Ariel Atkins. The Mystics can tie on this possession. Not with that shot, though, but back-to-back baskets for Natasha Cloud. Has the Mystics within one, 62-61. Robinson to Dantis, looking deep inside to Fagbenle. She catches it with one hand against Walker Kimbrough. And she's going to go to work, backing her down, leaving it right to Robinson. They left her all alone on the opposite block. Great dish from Fagbenle, and that gets it back up to a three-point lead, 64-61. Cloud drives to leave it for Hawkins for three. This team has now made 11 three-pointers today, and yet they still, well, the game is now tied. That's still a lot of points that the Lynx don't have. They've only made 3. Along the baseline, Talbot, Dantis, one pass, Brown all by herself, off back iron, offensive rebound for Dantis, and she puts it back up and in. 66-64 is the Lynx lead. Emma Mieseman from the free throw line, no, rebound to Brown, and she will push it. Mystics get back, though. She has it on the sideline, chased by Cloud. Fagbenle, long two. That's left short, just grazed the front of the rim. And a rebound to Hawkins. Cloud finds Hawkins. She gets into the paint against Fagbenle, falling away, and that shot just falls out from around the block, inside the block. The Lynx still lead by 2, 66-64. Robinson screen from Fagbenle to Dantis now. She's looking inside against Mieseman, driving. She loses it, but she's fouled. 6:50 to go in this game. The Mystics are used to being in a spot where they build a lead and they hold on to it. They have 10 wins by 20-plus this season. That's already the most 20-plus wins in WNBA history. And 14 of their 18 wins this season have been by 10-plus points. But here they're down by 2. Damiris Dantis at the line. Her first is good. Lynx fans, join us for Breast Health Awareness Night on Thursday, August 22nd as we rise for a cause and take on the Dallas Wings. The first 5,000 fans in attendance will receive a Breast Health Awareness water bottle to take home. Get your tickets now at lynxbasketball.com. And Elena Deladon comes in, as does Latoya Sanders, Tiana Hawkins, and Shatori Walker-Kimbrough to the bench. On the floor for Minnesota is Dantis, fouls Collier, Sims, and Talbot. Second free throw does fall in. And the Lynx continue to be perfect for the free throw line. 17 for 17. Every one of those needed against this team in the Mystics. Long two by Cloud as she continues a torrent of scoring here in the fourth. Still a lead for Minnesota, 68-66. Talbot hounded by Atkins. It gets away from her. She has to chase it on the other side of the half-court line. Collier bails her out with 8 seconds left. She has it against Deladon. Here's Talbot driving, reversing. Collier, long two, no. Rebound Cloud pushing it up the floor. Collier guarding her. Deladon gets it, sneaks past Dantis, blocked from behind as she was going to pump fake against fouls. The defense tonight on Elena Deladon, who's 3 for 11 from the floor, 0 for 3 from long range, just 8 points, has been outstanding. 6 minutes left. Atkins baseline inbound, that rims out. And Washington is shooting just 40%, which for them is low. Talbot in the corner, that was picked off as she tried to get it to the screener. Fouls. Here's Cloud to Atkins for 3. That bounces out, and a rebound to Sylvia Fouls. By the way, Collier close to a double-double. She's got 9 and 9. That'd be her 4th this season. As the Lynx have it in the post, it is Fouls going to work, but blocked by Sanders. She gets it right back after it was poked away, and a foul on the floor. And this is Ingrid Sill we're seeing here. The Lynx in a close one here against the number 1 team. A timeout on the floor with them leading 68-66. 5:23 on the clock. This is Minnesota Lynx basketball. Thanks, Cal. It just got really loud in here, so I'm sorry if you already said this, but that Seattle game, very important to watch. It's not only the Lynx' next opponents, but they're only a half game back of them in the 6th spot. It's Minnesota basketball after that full timeout called by the Lynx. They lead by 2, 68-66. Damiris Jontis will go in the corner to Robinson. Long 2, no. And rebound to the Mystics. Cloud pushing. Atkins has it at the wing. Back to Cloud. 5 minutes to go. Into the post. It is Deladon spinning away from multiple defenders, and she gets it to go down. Elena Deladon could erupt here. She's got 10 points on 4 for 12 shooting. Sims into the paint, has Miesemann on her, keeps her dribble, goes in the corner to Robinson, high post to Fouls, give and go to Robinson, and Robinson finishes to put the Lynx back up by 2, 70-68. Beautiful basketball between Fouls and Robinson as Deladon off 1 foot, back to back for Elena Deladon. She has got 12 points, and you knew you would see her surface here. Sims has that stolen away by the 6'4" Miesemann, and then up ahead to Atkins. She stops on a dime, spins, and finishes as Dantis flies by. And the Mystics have taken back the lead, 72-70. That's 9 fast break points for the Mystics as Robinson gets it down low to Dantis. She is in trouble, and another turnover for Minnesota. That was taken away from Dantis at the block. Now Deladon has it. Atkins trying to go baseline, picked up her dribble, gets it to Deladon on the wing. Now toward the other side of the floor, will hand off to Miesemann. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Long to Sanders, yes. And a timeout is wisely called, I think, by Minnesota, with the Mystics going on a run here. 3:31 left. It's just a short timeout here, but you have the Mystics up by 4 now, 74-70. The Lynx have led since late in the 3rd quarter. It was tied with 2:30 left in the 3rd quarter, and the Lynx have led up until this point, just in the last minute. 3:31 on the clock. The Lynx trying to get 1 win in their final meeting against the Mystics this season, trying to avoid the Mystics clinching a playoff berth on their home floor, and then also just proving that they can not just stay with, like they did in the last game, but beat this number 1 team. Collier has it after the timeout, trying to lob it inside to Fouls. That was poked away, almost stolen. It knocked away by Sanders. Lynx get it back. Here is Jontis trying to back down Sanders, spinning every which direction. She can't flip it up and in. And the Mystics can extend this by 2 possessions. They're up by 4, 74-70, exactly 3 minutes left. Here is Cloud reversing to Deladon. She will be fouled by Dantas, and Dantas has her hands on her knees and looked like she may have gotten hit in the face. But that is number 4 on Damiris Dantas, as the timeout is called on the floor. A full timeout by the Mystics. 2:53 on the clock. The Lynx find themselves down for the first time in a while, 74-70. This is Minnesota Lynx basketball. Under 3 minutes left in the crowd. Really into it here at Target Center. The Minnesota Lynx trail the Washington Mystics 74-70. They're being outscored in this fourth quarter 18-8 as they face the number 1 offense, the number 1 team in the league that will clinch a playoff berth with a win here. The Lynx at 13-12 would be a big win if they're able to pull this one off here. Off the inbound, Cloud has it in the logo, dumps it to Elena Deladon from the wing. Damiris Dantas on her. Here is Cloud for 3, too long. Sanders can't get the rebound, and it will stay right here off of Collier. 2:38 on the clock. The Lynx, just in the last couple minutes, surrendering the lead after they held it for about 10 minutes game time. Ariel Atkins lobs into Sanders, fouls on her at the block extended. She puts up a difficult shot, misses against fouls. A rush shot there. And Sims will bring it up the floor. She's slowing things down. Dantas has it, Nieseman on her, back to Sims. Fouls, will drive, leave it for Dantas, and that is good for 3, Damiris Dantas. Her second three-pointer. She's got 14 points, tied for the team lead, and a very timely one to bring the Lynx within 1. Atkins driving baseline, stopped by Sims, but she still is able to put it up and in. Her whole body was behind the backboard except for her extended arm, and somehow she got that to go. It's a 3-point lead for the Mystics, 76-73. Sims driving against Nieseman. She cannot finish. Fouls going for the rebound, and there was a whistle. Sylvia fouls today. 5 for 6 from the floor, 4 for 4 from the free throw line. But that foul actually is going to be going on her, and that's a tough one to take. That is her 4th. Fouls has 4. Dantas has 4. Collier has 4. You know, and she's just hustling, going for a rebound. Sometimes that happens. 1:30 left as Cloud drives and loses it. Natasha Cloud with another turnover. Today she has 4. A timeout is called by the Minnesota Lynx. 1:29 left. They trail by 3, 76-73. The Lynx shooting 45% from the field, right along with the Mystics at 44%. They have led by as many as 10 points in this game, and they have kept up the consistency throughout the game. And I think that's what stands out to me so far, is not just containing this Washington Mystics team that over the last 10 games, 9 of which they have won, they have been averaging 93 points per game on 50% shooting. But it's the fact that they have sustained it for this long, and that is what makes the next 89 seconds so important, is because that's where the Lynx have struggled this season, to be able to commit to the game plan, to do everything that they're supposed to do to win for an entire 40 minutes. And they're close. They're close to doing that tonight. 1:29 on the clock, as appropriately the Rocky theme song comes on here at Target Center. The Lynx trailing by 3, 76-73. It's Lynx basketball. Robinson taking it out. Still holding on to it. lob into the post where Sylvia fouls. She goes with a power dribble, but it's stolen from her by Atkins, who's such a sneaky defender. Up ahead to Deladon with the Lynx extending the pressure out. Cloud is going to dribble it out, and then Robinson's going to get whistled for just putting her hands on Cloud. And that's her second, but that is significant because that's going to be free throws here for Natasha Cloud. And it really did look like there was minimal contact there. Cheryl Reeve very upset with that call as Cloud misses the first. Stephanie Talbot coming in for Danielle Robinson, bringing in that three-point presence. Talbot today with 5 points has hit one of her 5 attempts from long range. Another one coming up here for Cloud, and the Mystics are in the bonus as of that foul. That's a big whistle. Sims has Deladon on her, finds Dantis for 3, no. Weak side rebound for Elena Deladon. Dantis hit one just a few possessions ago. The Lynx are down by 4 with 1 minute left, 77-73. Deladon will drive, leave it for Sanders. Here is Miesemann for 3, yes. And another timeout on the floor as the Mystics have extended this lead out, 80-73. It's their largest lead of the game before. Their biggest lead was just 4 points, and that was early on in this game. It's a short timeout for Minnesota. 80-73. The Lynx have fallen behind after leading for much of this second half. But this is the clock situation. 52.2 seconds to go. It is Minnesota basketball. The Mystics just at 2:16. It was 74-73. That was the Demiris Dantis 3. And the Mystics going on a 6-0 run. It's Minnesota basketball from the high post. It's fouls, fakes the handoff, drives against Sanders, misses the layup, but free throws here for Sil. And Sylvia fouls this season from the free throw line, 69%. She's 4 for 4 today. Now 5 for 5 as it fell so silent here in Target Center, knowing what is on the line here. Even just a regular season game, but it's felt like more than that. This Powell, 6 for 6 from the free throw line. She's got 16 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 blocks. Miesemann is going to be fouled by Collier. She wrapped her arms around her as Miesemann was trying to get that ball up the floor. And here comes the march to the free throw line as the Mystics will be shooting the rest of the way. No more to give from Minnesota. They are firmly in the bonus. So Miesemann at the line with 43.6 seconds left. This is a Mystics team, as Miesemann is good on the first, that over the last 10 games, again, is shooting 87% from the free throw line as a team. That's impressive individually. And she goes 2 for 2. 82-75 is the Mystics lead. Talbot will hand off to Sims. Screen comes from fouls. Sims has a lot of pressure from Sanders on her. Cross-court pass. Collier, 3. Yes, she's got it. Nafisa Collier was scoreless at the half, but she's got 12 on 5 for 7 shooting with 9 rebounds today. 82-78. Deladon will get it out to Sanders. They're just trying to run the timeout here as Talbot is going to end up fouling Emma Miesemann. And Miesemann this season is an 82% shooter. She and Cloud are the ones to send to the line. They're the only ones under 84%. But Miesemann hits the first. 18.9 seconds on the clock. That was such a big three from Collier. Her first make from long range today. Lexi Brown coming in to replace Sylvia Fowles, hoping to get a quick trigger three. With 18.9 seconds left. The Lynx still battling here as Shatori Walker-Kimbrough wasn't quite ready with her warm-ups off, and she's going to replace LaToya Sanders. So both teams bringing in three-point shooting guards for their centers here with 18.9 seconds left. The Mystics up 83-78. Emma Meeseman goes 2 for 2 on that trip as well. Sims, 16 seconds left, screen from Talbot. Sims spins around it into the paint. Collier outside the three-point line puts up a shot at the free throw line. She is fouled. So that will stop the clock at 10.2 seconds to go. And if Collier makes both of these, that will make it a 4-point deficit. Still a hard one to overcome when it's this late in the game. You're playing the foul game, and Collier will miss the first. Still a fantastic second half for Collier. She was 0 for 1, 0 points with 2 rebounds in the first half. And as she makes the second, she's got 13 points and 9 rebounds. They get it into Deladon, 7 seconds left, and she's going to be fouled by Lexi Brown. And Elena Deladon is a casual 96% shooter from the free throw line. And that's even a career high for her, who is one of the best free throw shooters of all time. 6.7 seconds left. It's a 5-point game. And Deladon will knock down the first. She's got one of the simplest motions, but the most perfect form. And her second one is good. 6.7 seconds left. Collier gets it in to Sims. And that's going to do it here at Target Center. The Lynx come up just short here against the Washington Mystics in a really strong game. But they were not able to pull it out in the end. The final, 86-79. The Lynx come up short. They had led for a good portion